Yo, what's up? Welcome to the opening line, Corey and Benny, coming at you on a hump day Wednesday. If it's not raining where you are living, it is probably going to be raining shortly. So got some NFL, got a little college football, some Major League Baseball, and we'll hop into some NBA team totals today. Probably do the Eastern Conference, save the Western Conference for next week. Benny, what's going on with you? Not a good day, not a good night for New York Yankee fans yesterday.
No, definitely was not a good night for the Yankee fans, although it wasn't a surprise. I mean, we kind of talked about Garrett Cole being the guy that we were the most afraid of. Tonight, or very likely tomorrow, because from everything I'm seeing, there's a good chance this game's going to rain out.
Yes.
Very likely tomorrow is going to be the big game for them there. I wonder if the extra day rest, I wonder if they go with Greinke again tomorrow and, Greinke tomorrow, maybe Verlander on Friday, because that would be – he pitched Sunday, so that'd be 5 days rest for him too.
I definitely think we see Verlander on Friday.
Yeah, so it'd probably be those two, and then comes back to Cole for 6, and then I guess you have Greinke on 4 days rest for 7.
I think they'll save Cole for 7.
But then they got to pitch the young kid.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It might matter what happens tonight. Like if Houston wins tonight, then I could see them pitching the young kid on Friday, or Curdy, the kid who was actually scheduled to pitch today.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's like, all right, even if we lose this game, we go back home 3-2 with Verlander and Cole set up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the Yankees will then be in a spot where they have to beat both those pitchers. Mm-hmm. They'd rather be in a spot where they have to beat one of those pitchers. It makes it a little less daunting. But in pro sports, anything can happen. Right now, the Yankees are plus 270, Benny, to win the series.
Plus 270. I've seen them at plus 500.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wait, no. You're saying to win this series. I'm sorry. I got
the
World Series. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, again, I have a little bit of money on the Yankees already, but I'm not putting any more right now.
No, that wouldn't be a smart thing to do right now. Considering what we see going on, need some of these bats to warm up like Ed E. and Gary Sanchez. With that being said, Benny, got some big news in the NFL yesterday. We see where Jalen Ramsey got his wish. He forced himself out of Jacksonville. Jacksonville does get a load from the Rams with 2 first-rounders and a 4th-rounder. Listen, they must have great back doctors in Los Angeles because it's a good chance that miraculously Jalen Ramsey's back will be healed and he'll play this weekend.
Yeah, he's going to play this weekend. He's perfectly fine. I mean, he's been trying to get out of there, and some of the stuff that was going on there, you kind of knew wasn't really him hurt. But I think he actually did it the right way, though. I mean, yep. He didn't make a big deal of it. He didn't make a big spectacle of it where it ruined the trade value for him. The Jaguars can't be upset with the haul they got for him. I mean,
it's worked out. I mean, they may not have wanted to do it, and it may look like Ramsey forced the hand. But once Ramsey starts talking this way, you're gonna start putting him on franchise tags. He's not going to play on them, period. So you might as well get what you can while the going was still good. And I think they were very smart in that regard.
Yeah, I think they got a really good haul for him, and I think that the Rams got a shutdown corner, which is what they really wanted to get to. So honestly, I think it works out for everybody. And remember, I mean, if the Rams stay good, then those are going to be middle to the end of the round kind of first round picks. Pick 20, pick 28, something like that. So that might actually not be that big a deal. If the Rams wind up sucking next year and that's like a top 10 pick, that's going to be a big deal.
Speaking of the Rams, Benny, Jared Goff contract.
Oh, one of the worst ones in football. One of the worst ones in football right now.
Yes.
It's not even close. Dude, it's not even close.
You know what, Benny? It sounds crazy, but they shouldn't have re-upped him.
No, not at all.
They should let him get to his walk-in and just go and be like, let's start over. And I was thinking for a while that Dallas should do the same thing with Dak. I think the jury is still out on that. Mm-hmm. But that Jared Goff contract is going to hamstring this team.
Absolutely. So this is the big case study that, a lot of the big analytics guys are kind of talking about right now is, when you go and you draft this cheap quarterback, right? Like you build your team and you go and you get this cheap rookie quarterback there. When his deal is up, what do? Now, if you know he's the guy, then you go ahead and you re-up him. So like Pat Mahomes, somebody they'll probably re-up. Maybe Lamar Jackson, somebody who deserves to be re-upped. But the thought process, or at least the argument, is that anybody who's not a top 5 to 7 elite kind of quarterback, you should just let them walk and go get yourself another young quarterback.
And just do it again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Recycling quarterbacks on rookie contracts, put them in the system that works for them, and see if you can do what Carson Wentz did and do what Jared Goff did and do what Russell Wilson did.
Yep.
And, I feel like somebody else, well, Trubisky has been close, but you know what I'm saying? Not yet. But you get the picture right there. These teams with these quarterbacks on rookie contracts, they can really turn it around quickly because they're paying so little at a premium position. If you say that Dak Prescott needs to be – if you say that you see, okay, Prescott's going to get re-upped. Wentz has already gotten re-upped. I don't know if re-upping Wentz was a good idea.
I mean, again, Wentz hasn't been healthy enough through an entire season for us to really see that.
That's true.
You know, I mean, that's the big knock on him. But that is, again, this is the argument that, you know, a lot of the analytics and the, the draft cap and how to build a team, you know, kind of guys are basically having right now is, you know, do you pay that guy that kind of money or do you go and get somebody new? So far, Corey, nobody has ever pulled the string and let the guy walk and gone in from one rookie deal quarterback to another rookie deal quarterback. Because really you're letting that guy go like right in his prime, right? Like, I mean, if you had him on his rookie deal and you took the extension, those guys are probably 26 years old, 25, 26 years old that you're letting walk, you know, maybe 27. That's pretty much the prime of his career. That's when a quarterback knows what he's supposed to do and is still athletic enough to get it done. You know what I mean?
No doubt. So interesting to see how it plays out. Like Goff is already in the can, but we'll see what happens with some of these young quarterbacks. I think that day will be coming, Benny. Speaking of young quarterbacks, Marcus Mariota is been introduced to the bench, and it's not like he's been introduced to the bench for some young hotshot. He's been introduced to the bench for a stiff and Ryan Tannehill. It looks like the Mariota Winston thing is coming to a crashing end, where both of these gentlemen are probably going to be backup quarterbacks somewhere next year.
Yeah, so I mean, there was all that argument over who you take number 1 overall, and the answer was
none of
it. I think that, yeah, they're both going to wind up backups. If I'm Marcus Mariota, I want to wind up somewhere where the starter is a running quarterback, because then you get put in a system that's probably a little bit better for you. I mean, listen, the system he was in right now wasn't one where a quarterback was really going to put up big numbers anyway. But with that being said, he just did not pan out the way that they wanted to. And I mean, I guess we could talk about Jameis right now too. I think Jameis panned out at least a little bit better. But again, you know, what kind of contract does Jameis want? Does he understand that you're not going to get a big contract, or is he going to want a big contract? Because if he'll come back for a reasonable price, I don't think it's crazy for Tampa Bay to bring him back. But, you know, if he wants the kind of money that Dak's talking, you're not going to find it, and I don't think anyone's going to give it to you.
Nobody's giving Jameis Winston that kind of money. Jameis Winston, unfortunately, is not the kind of person that – no, let me not say not the kind of person. That sounds bad. Jameis Winston is not you can't trust him with that kind of backing. Just because of the simple fact that just because of the simple fact of some of his transgressions we've seen in his past. This is really the first year, Benny, that Jameis Winston is making money. This is Jameis Winston. This season that we're in right now is the first time that Jameis Winston has made $1 million. Now he's making $20 million this year. So he hit it, you know what I'm saying, after making less than $100 million each of these first couple years. You know, he's roster bonuses, but his base salary has not been over $1 million until this season. This season he has a $20 million salary. Next season, Benny, this is it. He's only on the books to this year. Yep. So after this season right here, Jameis Winston, like I said, it's going to have to be. It ain't going to be this $20 million, bro, that you're getting this year. So you know,
it might be like a 3-year, $20 million deal or something like that he's going to have to settle for if he wants to be. If somebody even thinks he can be their starter. If not, I mean, you know, we talked about it when Bridgewater took over. Bridgewater was the highest paid backup quarterback, and he made $7 million. So you're not getting 3 years, $20 million if you're going to be somebody's backup. You know what I mean?
Yep, no doubt. Alvin Kamara pops up on the injury report, Benny, with some kind of high ankle type issue. It eliminated him in practice this week. Feels like he's still going to be able to give it a go this weekend. Obviously, Lat Murray would be the beneficiary of this, but a hobbled Alvin Kamara is not good for a Saints offense.
Yeah, so remember how I said, you know, Saints Bears, and I was like, you know, I had the Saints on my first look, and that's who I was going to go with. This is the kind of thing that could easily pull me off of that. You know, I didn't put any money down on it yet, and you know, if Kamara's not going to be there, I mean, Lat Murray is an NFL running back, right? He's been around for a while, but he's not the explosiveness that Alvin Kamara is. This is definitely going to hurt their offense if Kamara doesn't play, or even if Kamara's not 100% and can't do all the things that he does. Because I mean, this guy's dynamic, running and catching the ball out of the backfield. He's something that you got to prepare for. Lat Murray is more of just a north-south kind of runner that, you know, if he's in there, it's going to be a lot easier to defend this team than having to worry about Kamara on all parts of the field.
No doubt. Like you said, it does make them much more one-dimensional. Yeah. So, trying to figure out some. Before we get into some NBA stuff, we do got some preseason action tonight. Hold on 1 second, as I have to take this right here, Benny. But we did see some teams get going last night.
Yeah, let me look at some of these games here today so I can kind of give you guys some of the ideas that I wrote down here. I'm looking at my notes at the moment. You know, obviously the Boston game worked out pretty well last night for us. Minnesota played really well. They actually let their starters play a little more, which is something that I think we're going to start seeing. I mean, we are only a week away from the beginning of the NBA season. And then Philadelphia and Detroit played last night. A bunch of guys sat out on both sides of this game. Philly wound up winning by 20. They've been rolling everybody in the preseason by 20. Detroit sat a bunch of their guys because they have another game playing tonight. Blake Griffin, I don't even think traveled with them, so I don't know if he's even going to be playing in this game. Andre Drummond, though, sat out last night. I'm assuming they sat Andre Drummond last night because they're going to play him tonight against Charlotte.
Okay.
So if you're playing, you know, if you're playing any kind of like DFS or something like that, he's probably a guy that you can look at if they're going to give him some decent minutes tonight. You know, always kind of like a double threat, especially if there's no Blake Griffin in there.
Atlanta and the Knicks play tonight. Anything, Benny, or will you get to that information later on? Atlanta's laying 2.5. The total is 225. The game, New York is the home team. It doesn't necessarily mean it's at Madison Square Garden, especially this time of year.
I think it is actually, though. I think it is at MSG tonight, yeah. I think this is a game, if I'm going to do anything, I'd probably go the over here.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not really sold on the Knicks defense yet coming together, and Atlanta has been one of the worst defensive teams in the league and one of the teams that plays at the fastest pace. So this could be a game where we see it go over 225 points. I wouldn't be shocked of that. I'm interested to see how things kind of come together for Atlanta. You know, I want to see how much time they give Cam Reddish. I want to see – there's a lot of young guys playing in this game. Most of them went to Duke at one point or another. But there's a lot of young guys playing in this game that I'm going to want to see. So maybe we'll maybe we'll take a little look at this. Actually, yeah, there might not even be any baseball tonight. So might as well watch preseason basketball. No NFL, and there may be no MLB either.
No doubt. So what I want to do, Benny, is I was going to break them up by conferences, but there's kind of no reason to do that. I want to talk a little bit of NBA team totals since we're getting on the cusp of that season right now. And don't forget, you catch everything you need for NBA season, your DFS-wise over at Elite Fantasy. Benny's one of the dudes over there getting that done. Him, Rad, Thad, the whole crew. If you want to get down with some DFX and make some bucks, Elite Fantasy it is. Pelicans. This is an interesting one, Benny, to start. 39.5. I liked it at like around 36, 37. Now for them to get to 40 wins, I'm like, I think I might go under that.
I'm looking at some of the stuff from last year. So I mean, basically, what this question is kind of asking you is, do you think they make the playoffs or not? Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because if they get like over, or at least like they may miss it by a game or two, but you know what I'm saying. Like if for them to get over,
it's going to take 42, 43 wins to get to the playoffs in the West.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that. See, that's the thing is, they play in a much tougher conference too, and you don't know how these young kids are going to hold up. I mean, I got to be honest. I tend to go with the teams I know before I bet on the ones that have all the hype.
Yeah.
So I'd probably be on the under of this one.
Yeah, I think I would probably lean towards the under 2. The Raptors, 46.5. You got to feel like the under, right? Or is the Eastern Conference weak enough to where the Raptors can still win almost 50 games?
And that's what I'm thinking. I mean, because you know what? Even the year before Kawhi got there, like that's kind of what the Raptors do, right? Like the Raptors do really well in the regular season because they have a deep bench and they're able to withstand the back-to-backs and the guys getting injured and stuff. And the East really is that weak. Like the East, I shouldn't say the East is that weak. The East is very top-heavy.
Yeah.
Like the teams at the top, I think are going to be really good, but everybody else is going to kind of suck. So I don't think it's crazy, but I wouldn't bet on it at 46.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on it at 46 either. Obviously, one of the big winners of the offseason was the Los Angeles Clippers. They come in at 54.5. That's a high number, Benny, in my opinion, especially for a team that has the cornerstone players or dudes that are going to probably miss 20 games apiece.
Well, I mean, Paul George is already slated to miss the beginning of the season there.
Yep.
You know that Kawhi is not going to play. I mean, again, I don't know. Maybe he is 1 year, back from the injury and all that.
No.
But I'd kind of assume
I think he's beat up, Benny.
Yeah, I mean,
mm-hmm.
They played a lot of games to win that championship throughout all those series, and a bunch of them went to, 6 or 7. I would think that he probably does a lot, maybe a little more than what he did last year, but anytime they got a back-to-back, he's going to probably sit out one of them. If they got 3 games in 4 nights, one of those he's definitely taken off. So yeah, I mean.
Basically it becomes, can Doc Rivers, Lou Will, Montrell, and Pat Beverly get this team to 55 wins?
Well, really, they got them to 40-something last year to make the playoffs, and then now they're adding 2 other guys who, even if they do miss 20 games, are probably worth 4 or 5 games each in the standings.
Yep.
So I don't know. Again, not one that I'm willing to bet on, but not one I'm willing to bet against either.
Lakers at 51.5.
I'll bet against that.
You like the Lakers?
I will bet against the Lakers. The Lakers are not getting to 51.5.
Really?
All right. Is Anthony Davis going to be healthy all year? Because I'm already hearing things about his thumb. LeBron James is going to take off as many games, if not more, than Kawhi Leonard did. And you traded a lot of your good young talent away. Kyle Kuzma's hurt to start the year. Dwight Howard. Is Dwight Howard going to be the guy that leads you to? Remember what happened the last time the Lakers, counted on Dwight Howard to be the guy to lead him anywhere?
They ran him out the state of California.
Again, if you're going to tell me that LeBron's going to play 75, 80 games and he's going to play 35, 40 minutes a game, and you're going to tell me that Anthony Davis isn't going to get hurt, maybe. But otherwise, I don't see them getting to 51.
Interesting one right here, Benny. The Charlotte Hornets, 23.5. I've never seen one that low.
Oh, yeah. The Nets or the Knicks a couple years ago were like 16, 18. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they've definitely been that low. I mean, listen, Kemba was the heart and soul of that team. There's not a lot of upside that you can look around to. I mean, Terry Rozier is good, but I think Terry Rozier is going to have a big year for fantasy because I think he's going to get a chance to just kind of –
he's going to do his thing. That's what he wants to do. He wants to get paid and do his thing.
But I don't know how many wins that's going to translate into. So
very little.
Yeah. Again, I think 22 is probably a good number for this. I'm not going to be expecting it to go much higher, and honestly, they could come in below. So I probably wouldn't bet it, but I think that's a good number.
What do you think at the Indiana Pacers at 46.5?
Over.
Really?
I like the Pacers a lot, man. The Pacers look really good in the preseason.
What about Oladipo, Benny?
But that's the thing. So they have Sabonis and Miles Turner, right? That's a legit big man pairing there. And then they went out and brought in some guys on the outside. So they're going to have T.J. Warren. They have Jeremy Lamb. They have Malcolm Brogdon.
Malcolm Brogdon is key.
All 3 of those guys are really good. And then when you bring Oladipo back in there, that's your 4-guard rotation right there with those 2 big guys. That's a legit – I mean, they're good. Sabonis is going to be a double-double guy. Like, I don't play a lot of season-long fantasy basketball, but I have a league that I'm in with a bunch of my boys that we've done for years. And he's a guy that I like targeted early on in the draft. I think he's going to have a big year right there. Brogdon, like you said, is a very underrated player. I like the moves that Indiana did to make their team better. And like you said, they're going to be without Oladipo for at least the beginning of the season. But when he comes back, like that guy's he's a stud. Like he's a legit stud in the NBA. So when he comes back, this team's going to be very, very good.
The Brooklyn Nets, 44.5. No Kevin Durant, obviously, this year, but a good young core that we saw excel last season, good head coach. And now you get Kyrie Irving someplace that maybe Kyrie wants to be.
I feel like this is around where they're going to be, but to me, this feels like the high end. Without Durant this year, it kind of feels like 44 is the high end, but in the East, it might not be that crazy.
I would go to over on this one, and I'm not a Nets backer at all. As a matter of fact, I despise the Brooklyn Nets, but I would go to over on that one right there.
I expect them to make the playoffs, so it probably is going to be around that number. So, yeah, if I had to bet, I'd go over, but I'm not touching that one.
Orlando Magic, 40.5.
You know, I always
Orlando had some stretches last year where they played very good. And down the stretch to make the playoffs, they were very tough. They were one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference those last couple of weeks of the season.
But again, if they make the playoffs this year, Corey, do you think they're higher than a 6 or 7 seed?
Nope.
Which means that we're probably looking around this number. You know what I mean? Like it's, you know, because they play in the East, I'd probably say yes because I do think they'll make the playoffs. But again, they're going to be a 6, 7, 8 seed. So I wouldn't expect much above this.
San Antonio Spurs, 46.5.
No.
I agree. I go under that.
No.
The Mavericks, 40.5.
I like the Mavs over last year at 34, and I like the talent. They have a lot more this year than I did last year. Again, if you're taking them over 40.5, you're saying you think that they have a chance to make the playoffs. If Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic can both stay healthy, they're going to be really, really good this year. So I will begrudgingly say I will take the over here, but one injury to either one of those guys screws it.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Interesting. I think I would go to over 2, but like you said, that injury could throw it off. The Wizards, 27.5.
Under. I mean, I don't have anything positive to say with the Wizards. I think that this is an organization that is going to wind up being a seller at the trade deadline again. They just seem to not be able to keep things together. So, under.
I think they might be a little bit more intriguing than people think this year. Oklahoma City, 32.5. Under.
I mean, I'm not a huge Chris Paul fan, so I really don't see how this team –
very few people are.
Yeah, I really don't see how this team does much of anything this year. Who's the other guy they got? They got Danilo Gallinari as well.
And then they get
There's just not enough here. Put it this way, they're definitely not going to be better than they were when they had Russell Westbrook. So, I don't know. I can't see them. 32 games. It's not a number I really want to bet on, but, you know, if I had to pick one, I would say the under.
Minnesota Timberwolves, 35.5.
I'm going to say the under, man, because I just do not like this team.
Benny, I think this team might be a little bit better than people think.
But last year, this team was supposed to win the championship, remember?
That was far-fetched. That was 2 years ago.
Or 2 years. Either way, I honestly just think that their identity as a team is just give the ball to Karl Anthony Towns. And I really don't think that works. Like, I think you need to do more than that. And I don't think – Jeff Teague is a nice player, but he's getting a little older.
Jeff Teague, I remember when Jeff Teague was at Wake Forest, and that was a while ago.
Yeah, Robert Covington. I just don't love Andrew Wiggins. Like, I don't love the pieces on this team.
I might go over the Timberwolves. Nobody likes Andrew Wiggins. 76ers, 54.5.
Over. I think this starting five is ridiculous. Richardson, Simmons, Tobias Harris, Al Horford, Joel Embiid. you know that a bunch of these guys are going to sit out games here and there, Joel Embiid especially, but that's enough talent where, even if one of the stars is out, what do you got, 4 other all-stars on your team? That's tough.
The Hawks, 33.5.
I'm going to say over. This team was horrible at the beginning of last year, but down the stretch, they were actually pretty good.
They were the highest scoring team in the second half of the season last year.
Yeah, I mean, they played at the highest pace too, but record-wise, I want to say they were like even over 500 over the last 40 games of the season. So
they had wins over Toronto in the second half. They had wins over Houston in the second half. They beat a lot of good teams in the second half.
Yeah, so I mean, if they can put together an entire season like the second half of last season was for them, they should get to around 40 wins and be knocking on the door of a playoff berth.
This is an interesting team right here. They have a great head coach. They got a dynamic young player. They got a good front offense. They got a good location, and they'll have enough money for 2 max players next year. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, you can put some nice pieces alongside. Like, I like Collins a lot, the power forward they got 2 years ago. He really showed he can play. See what happens with Cam Reddish, who they picked up this year, and then you have
Young and Herter.
Yeah, you have Young. Or Hurt is a good shooter too, but you're going to get 2 max players. You get a chance to go. I think Dedmon left, so I think the big hole on this team or the big problem is going to be at center. Alex Len is still there, so Alex Len is going to have to step up and have a huge year for them with no Dwayne Dedmon. Offensively, I think he can do it. It remains to be seen how much he's going to be able to do it on a defensive end of the floor.
No doubt, and this is a team that's probably still going to be playing Vince Carter about 15 minutes a night, and you can't get too carried away about a team if they're playing a 45-year-old man 15 minutes a night.
Carter makes me feel bad about myself.
I'm disgusted, son.
He can still dunk a basketball at 45. I can barely still reach the rim right now at this point. So
there you go. Finally, Benny, Golden State Warriors 47.5.
Under.
Really?
No Klay Thompson to start the year. Your backcourt is Steph Curry and D'Angelo Russell. I'll tell you this, they may give up. They may be the first team in NBA history to give up like 10,000 points too, because with those guys playing defense, every game is going to be 130, 125.
All righty. Don't look like we'll get to baseball tonight, Benny. If we do, you like the Yankees, right?
I mean, obviously, I'm a Yankees fan, and if they lose tonight, it's pretty much over. You go down 3-1.
No doubt. But what I'm saying is, would you bet it tonight? Because last night, Yankee fan or not, nobody was betting against Garrett Cole.
Yes, because I don't think that the rookie kid that they're throwing is really all that good. So I think the Yankees, and he actually struggles in righty-on-righty matchups. So I think the Yankees will actually be in a pretty good spot here today to put some runs up on this kid. But I got to be honest, from everything I'm reading here, I actually wrote the article up today. So there is an article up on Elite Fantasy for the 1-game slate here tonight. But I kind of have a feeling you're going to have to hold off on using that article till tomorrow because I really don't think this game plays.
I would agree with you on that one right there. It does look that way. If you want a 2-teamer for tonight, we'll take that over 225.5 with the Knicks and the Hawks and a little college football, a little FCS action. The Raging Cajuns. Shout out to my man Emery Hunt. You got South Alabama. The Raging Cajuns play tomorrow night. I'm sorry. Tonight you got South Alabama and Troy. The total is 55. That game will probably come in around 35. So they're giving you a free one on Wednesday night right there. You could parlay that with the Knicks and the Hawks over, and that'll bring you the 273. So if you want to have a little action on a Wednesday night, there you go right there. Big piece of chicken, Benny. I guess, unfortunately, we have to give it to Garrett Cole. I'm not happy about that.
Yeah, that was going to be my choice, too. I'll give mine to Jose Altuve, who started that game off with the first inning home run, and, the Astros never really looked back after that. So, begrudgingly, big piece of chicken to the Houston Astros, but tomorrow we'll have some Yankees to talk about.
There you go right there. You know what I'm saying? For my main man, Benny, it's Corey Parson, the fantasy executive, and we're out.